Hello and welcome to another episode of Health, Wealth, and a Happy Home. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Jennifer Cohen. Always appreciate you watching the show. Today, very interesting. We're going to talk about taxes. And I know you just went, very interesting. But this is going to be awesome. We have with us today, we have Louis Rice from Rice Accounting and Tax Services. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Wonderful to see you.
Oh, thank you.
And, you know, people usually roll their eyes when you say taxes, but when you talk taxes, it's interesting. I was just saying that, how much I love listening to you talk about taxes.
Well, thank you.
The world of taxes has gotten even more complicated. We say that every year. Oh, it's got more complicated. But now with COVID, with the stimuluses, with the unemployment, with all that stuff, there is so much going on that it's crazy. How have you adapted, still providing your wonderful services with what's going on in the world today?
Well, thank you for asking. So we're doing drop-off service. So we're limiting contact and time with people, and so they feel safer, and our people feel safer, and everything like that. And then we're spending more time on the phone, you know, asking questions and things that they might not have dropped off and or covered, and so more phone calls and things like that. But it's worked out good. People, you know, appreciate that and the sense of safety, and which is real important. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it can be completely done that way. There's no reason to sit there in the chair, though you like to. Everyone in the office is so friendly. We hear that so much. All your reviews say excellent customer service, friendly staff, highly recommended. You know, you come just so recommended by everyone that's ever used you. And I can see why. You're all so friendly and so good at what you've done. If you've worked with other tax providers, you will see a difference. I saw a difference. Like, wow, wait, what? I get money back this time? You know, instead of, hey, you owe money. You know, you guys really know how everything works and how complicated it all is, with the IRS being just throwing new stuff out there, and they're so far behind. I mean, what's happening?
Yeah. So, you know, with COVID, of course, they were affected, and they lost, you know, half of their people or more, and so they didn't process any mail basically from March through July. Whoa. And at July 30th, 31st, they were starting to open up mail again. And so the computer spits out so many, you know, things asking about this and that and the other, and so people were responding and then didn't hear back because all those letters give you a time frame. And so people are very nervous and stuff. Anytime you get something from IRS, it's nerve-wracking and such. So the biggest thing there is, you know, just substantiate and document all your stuff. But anyways, long story short, yeah, a lot of people are still waiting to hear back from them, and it'll probably be October before they really start to put a dent in things. Wow. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are currently on unemployment. Now, what does that do for their taxes?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, because a lot of people don't realize that unemployment is taxable. And so not only is it taxable, and you do have an opportunity, but they don't make it very plain when you sign up for unemployment that you can have taxes taken out. But, you know, it's fine print, and, you know, it goes by a lot. So a lot of people don't have taxes taken out. But not only that, but your regular earned income is decreased, and now you have unemployment coming in. A lot of people, you know, especially young families starting out and stuff, qualify for different credits based on earned income. While that earned income is going to be lower, and then that unearned income or unemployment is increased, and so that's going to adversely affect their credits. So there's still 4.5 months of the year left. They're talking about, you know, they've looking at extending the unemployment right now, another 300 from the feds and 100 from the state. They're talking about another stimulus possibly. So a lot of things can happen, but I would suggest that people be proactive, and maybe October, November, or whenever they can, kind of take a look where they're at, you know, wages and unemployment and stimulus and stuff. And by then, hopefully, more questions will be answered. The IRS keeps coming out with, you know, this ruling on the CARES Act, this ruling on the Secure Act, and so they're still figuring it out too.
Yeah, that's one thing. They're figuring it out along the way. But you seem to roll with it beautifully.
Yeah.
You know, how do you keep up with all these changes? How is that possible that you're right on the edge of everything? Okay, now this is what we do with this, and there's no when we go into your office.
Yeah.
How do you do that with things changing on the daily?
So of course we subscribe to IRS and everybody else, and so anytime new acts come into place and stuff, we get a printout or a breakdown of what it has in it, and then usually a month later or something, the IRS will make a ruling on exactly what that act really means in the scope of things, and we just continuing education all the time, and you have to, because it changes. And this last 4.5 months with the election and everything else, there's going to be nothing but change. And a lot of changes.
Yes,
so
true.
Yeah, so who knows what's going to be taxable, not taxable until the end of the year. And sometimes Congress and stuff will make pass something in January or something and make it retroactive. And so sometimes we're waiting for those too. And it's all interesting.
Wow. I don't know how your staff remains so calm.
We eat a lot of chocolate. That helps.
Well, there you go. Now you know when you go in to Rice Accounting and Tax Services, bring chocolate. And that's the secret to staying calm during tax season. It's lots of chocolate. I never would have guessed that. I never. But it's great to have peace of mind and security knowing that our taxes in your hands, it's going to be done right. We're not going to get one of those nasty letters from the IRS. You guys are going to cover all the bases. I've had my taxes prepared by multiple different people. When I found you guys, I went, wow, there's a huge difference here. Because the other guys, and then I end up owing a little money here and there, and you don't really think about it. But when you get someone from your office that knows what they're doing, they're like, hey, you get money back every year. Hey, we've got it covered. And what I loved about my experience there was, okay, what else do you have? Okay, what else do you have? They're pulling information out of you all the time. Nobody else does that. Nobody else goes, let's find you more money. Let me do more work so that you get more money. Nobody does that. But everyone in your office does.
Well, thank you. We try to do that because it's so important. And because of all the changes, people aren't sure what to bring and stuff. And so it's important to ask questions and see if anything out of the ordinary happened and things like that. So
right, things we wouldn't think of. I mean, those folks I'm sure now that have been doing their own taxes for years are going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. You can alleviate a lot of that stress, and it's incredibly reasonable. People think getting your taxes done is, cost prohibitive. It's not. Your office is so incredibly reasonable, and booking your appointment is important because you're so incredibly busy. Yes,
that is, and right now, we get a lot of people calling and say, "Is it okay to still drop off?" And it is. Right now, summer hours 9 to 3, but we're there, and with asking those questions and things. A lot of times, people hear about the changes and they think, well, that doesn't pertain to me, or that's going to stop me from doing this. And one of the big ones was itemizing, and a lot less people itemize now because of the standard deduction being so high. But one thing in the CARES Act is helping out with that. So a lot of people, you included, you do donations and stuff. And when you're no longer able to itemize, you kind of lose the tax deductibility of that. But the feds have now, in the CARES Act, allow you to take up to $300 above line deduction, even if you take the standard deduction. And that kind of mimics Arizona. does a little bit like that, and they started last year when they raised their standard deduction. But the feds, realized that and included it in the CARES Act.
Wow,
so that was good.
That's great. I want to talk more about the CARES Act and the Secure Act when we come back.
Okay.
We're going to take a very quick break. We're talking with Lewis Rice from Rice Accounting and Tax Services. They're located on East State Route 89A in Cottonwood, the one with the cute sign out front that has all those wonderful sayings. You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, we're going to talk more with Lewis, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain relieving salves, full spectrum oils, honeys, teas, cookies, and even CBD for pets. Ready to feel fantastic? Come on by CBD Sedona today.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Are you struggling to overcome an addiction, depression, insomnia, or a weight problem? Then it's time for you to meet with Dr. Elaine Kissel, award-winning, world-renowned hypnotherapist, author, and mind trainer. Now you can get her help from the privacy and comfort of your own home. Let Elaine Kissel create a personalized hypnotherapy plan to overcome your problem forever. Call 844-4KISSEL now for a discounted evaluation appointment. That's 844-4KISSEL.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
And welcome back to Health, Wealth, and a Happy Home. We're talking with Lewis Rice from Rice Accounting and Tax Services. Been talking about how everything's changed again, as it does every year, how you guys have kept up with it. But let's talk about two things that are really affecting taxes this year: the CARES Act and the Secure Act. Let's start with the CARES Act. Explain that one.
All right. So the CARES Act was a response to, just all the changes and everything going on. A couple of the big things there people need to be aware of, and a couple late rulings on that. But they're allowing, we have a lot of retirees here in the Verde Valley and stuff, and they have the RMDs, required minimum distribution, out of their retirement accounts. It was when you're 70 and a half. Now the age is 72, and you have to take out a certain amount based on your age and how much money's in there and everything. Well, with that, they're allowing people not to take a distribution, so you don't have to take a required minimum distribution for 2020. A lot of people are prepared and they're on autopilot with that, and so they get that distribution in January or February before all this came about. And you only have a limited amount of time to put money back. Well, with the Act, they're allowing you now, even though you took money out in February and you didn't need to take it out, you can send it back now without any penalties or questions and such. And so that's really important because with all these unknowns and stuff, a lot of people do well budgeting and such, and they don't have to take out all that extra money, or the required minimum distribution out of their retirement, but they're required to. Well, this allows them to put it back if they didn't need it, and without any penalties. And such.
Without penalties. That's really good. Nice. It's unusual. Yeah,
it is very unusual, so that is good. Another good one about that is, retirement money, if you're not 59 and a half, you have to pay, you know, a penalty for taking it out early and stuff with the CARES Act. And they're allowing you to take money out if you have unforeseen medical, you know, and right now a lot of people do and such, without that penalty and stuff. But you have to have good documentation and to substantiate that and stuff. So documentation is key. Another thing that they did was 529 plans, which are for education, usually for children, you know, for college savings and such. Now, they've been around for a long time, and some people have some extra money sitting in there, and they're not going back to school, the kids are gone or whatever. They're allowing you to use up to $10,000 of that money to pay down your student loans. And so that wasn't available before, but that gives you another option to get that student loan debt down. And yeah, that's kind of thoughtful. They came up with some thoughtful things.
Yeah, that's kind of unusual.
It is. It is.
Let's talk a little bit about the stimulus. What tax havoc is that going to create? We've all gotten these stimulus checks. Yeah,
and you know, the government was trying to do something nice, but as usual, the burdens are placed on us. In 2020, when you file your 2020 taxes, they haven't came out exactly how they're going to do it, but there's going to be a little calculation to make sure that you qualified for what they sent you. And a couple of things we're seeing is that we did have some clients that had a spouse pass away and they got money for that spouse. Most of them sent that money right back, but if you haven't, that's going to be reconciled, and you're going to have to do that when you file the 2020 taxes. Children is a big one, because they had a $500 stimulus for some of those kids. Well, they have age requirements, or if they're in college or not in college, those things changed, and the government was using prior information. And so in 2020, you know, kids have a birthday, kids decide not to go back to college, and so forth and so on. And so that's going to be reconciled, and you're going to have to pay back that $500 if that child didn't qualify. So hopefully, though, you got a $2,000 stimulus, and when you reconcile, everything matches up, and they're going to have a $2,000 credit, so none of that will have to be paid back. So that's hopefully how it will work.
They didn't tell you that. It wasn't in the fine print on the paper at the bottom of the check. They did not say, oh, by the way, you might have to pay some of this back. And finding out whether you do have to pay some of that back, you definitely need a professional to help you with that, because if you don't, then great, you don't. But if you do, you want to make sure that's taken care of and not get any of those nasty notes.
Yeah, exactly. And they're still figuring out those stimuluses. People will still receive those through the end of the year. And about supposedly, if all your income is just Social Security, you were supposed to receive stimulus. And we still have some people that call us and, you know, I never got it, and well, I'll give them some more time. And, you know, people move, so they have an old address, or bank accounts change, and originally you had that refund check direct deposited, and then they tried to direct deposit the stimulus, and that bank account wasn't there anymore. And so that just adds on time that it takes them to figure things out and get the money to you. Now, if the only income you have is Social Security and you did receive your stimulus payment, supposedly you won't have to file a tax return next year. You should be fine, but they may require that just to reconcile the stimulus once again. I haven't seen a finalization on that decision yet.
Oh, good. It's great that we can trust that you guys are keeping up with it, because there's no way we can. There's no way. Now talk a little bit about the Secure Act.
Okay, so the Secure Act has a lot of the same benefits, allowing money that's usually taxable with penalties and interest, those penalties and interest not to be taxable. One of the big things in there is, and I'm pretty sure it's part of the Act, was 1099, so self-employed people. It was a 1099 miscellaneous. This year is going to be a 1099 NEC, non-employee compensation. And so that's new, and that is supposed to be, you know, distributed out by February 1st. So you should get that form, you know, mid-February from whoever you did work for and stuff like that. Same thing applies though. You still have to have all the documentation for your expenses against that income and everything like that. They have, well, that charitable thing was part of that in there. My mind went blank.
Well, I can imagine there's so much information in there about taxes, and with everything changing and it being an election year, we can expect nothing but a lot more changes to come, and there's just no way to keep up on it, you know, to know what actually is the right information, because you can look online, there's so much information out there, so much stuff saying this is it and it's not, and that, and it's scary. Taxes are scary anyway, but now it's wow, help.
Exactly. And that brings up the other thing, scammers. Scammers are still, you know, they're using the stimulus. There's stimulus scams trying to, you know, hey, you didn't qualify for that, you have to pay it back now and stuff. And there's, IRS isn't going to call you and say, you know, put some money on an iCard or whatever, Apple Card or whatever, and and they're not going to stay on the phone with you while you process the payment to them.
Right.
IRS is going to, if it's really bad, you're going to get a certified letter, and so, but don't respond to phone calls from them or from anybody else. You know, some of that is, you know, these COVID tests and stuff, and people fishing for information. You know, we're processing your test, and we need this, and this.
Dear.
You know, don't give them information over the phone.
No, never give out your credit card over the phone. Never pay anyone that calls you and says you owe me money by one of those fillable cards. Very good advice, Louis. Thank you. This man is full of great advice. Use it to your benefit. Louis Rice at Rice Accounting and Tax Services. Make sure you check those guys out. Great stuff. We're going to be right back. We have more to talk about, so don't go away.
Solar power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in-ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at C&B Homes.com.
2 things we can count on every year:
a new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Louis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
And welcome back to the show. We're talking with Rice Accounting. He is amazing. Louis Rice, he's the best. It's just, wow. You know, the way everything's been changing, of course, you can go to jacksonhewitt.com. If you put in, your local area, Louis is going to come up. If you've got questions, they're on there. You just give them a call, set up an appointment. You do want to talk. One of the things that I've always done and loved is the Arizona tax credit. I love giving away money. That's like the best, most fun thing, makes me feel great. Yeah. I was thinking the other day, I'm a little worried about that. How is that going to work this year? Is that going to change?
So supposedly no. So right now they're in full swing, and those charities, the schools, everybody's in so much need. There's so much unknown out there. and you know, people's jobs and stuff and income levels and stuff, and so it's been hard on charities and giving. But the Arizona tax credits are alive and well, and it's very important, and we got great ones here in the Verde Valley area. And if there's a charity you deal with, ask them if they're a qualifying charity for the Arizona tax credits. The schools are so important. I know a lot of the, you know, up in air about sports and things, but you don't have to just give to sports. And so schools are still very important, and with all the extra costs they have with, you know, cleaning and, you know, online things and stuff, they can use any help that you can give. So it's still $200 for single for private or public schools, $400 for married couples. The other qualifying charities are $800 and up. A good one is foster care. Different foster care organizations, they're $1,000, $500 for single people. And those qualifying charities, the $800, of course, is for married couples, $400 for single. But there's so much, and they do so good. Manzanita Outreach, the food, and so many families, and there's other organizations that help out with food and for back to school programs. You know, the Old Town Mission. Just
great job.
And it is great.
So we do need to continue to support those guys through these tough times as well, and know that, you know, it. Now, remind me, if you overdo it on tax credits 1 year, it rolls to the next?
It is. So you have up to 5 years to use that.
Up to 5 years?
5 years on the Arizona side. And so, it's a great thing. Every year I think they're going to make adjustments to it and take some away or something, and they haven't. So that was wonderful. 5
years. That's good to know. Because you worry about that. You're like, oh, should I? They need it, but I don't know if I qualify yet. But the 5 years to have that reconciled, then it's a no-brainer. Support your schools, support your local organizations that do so much, and I love that. You know, I give them the money instead of giving it to the IRS. It's like the best.
It is. You know, either way. You know, government means well, but it is so large and stuff. This way, you know where that tax money's going. It's staying local, and it's helping out local people, your neighbors, your friends. Important things.
Oh, great. Well, definitely get a hold of Rice Accounting and Jackson Hewitt Tax Services. Give them a call at 234-1040. There's no website. See, they don't need to deal with that. Just give them a call. They're a real people person, as you can tell. They're people persons. Amazing. Continue on with the excellent service. How long have you been now?
It's like 24 years.
24 years, and going strong and keeping up with everything. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I can sleep knowing that my taxes are going to be taken care of. So Louis, thank you so much for being on the show. Louis Rice, he's wonderful, one of my favorite guests. That's all the time we've got left for Health, Wealth, and a Happy Home. We'll see you again next time.